Good evening and welcome to your weekly briefing on SWBN News Watch. I am Chimela Chike. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have updates on the fight to protect preborn babies in the United States. Focus on the Family's Daily Citizen reported that 5 pro-life supporters were taken into custody on 29th August this year. This happened after a Washington, D.C. jury found them guilty of violating a federal law that prohibits individuals from interfering with access to abortion clinics. The pro-life activists are currently jailed in a D.C. prison awaiting sentencing, where they face up to 11 years in federal prison for violating the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. Meanwhile, CBN News earlier reported that the 5 pro-lifers named in this trial plus another 5 pro-life activists made plans for a sit-in protest at the facility. They sang, prayed out loud, locked arms in front of the facility staff entrance and attached themselves to rope and chains to block doors in the building as a means to delay the murder of kids. Lauren Handy, who is the lead defendant in this trial, made headlines last year after authorities recovered the fully formed bodies of the 5 aborted babies that she had discovered. But rather than investigating the deaths of these late-term babies, authorities went after Handy instead. According to court documents accessed by CBN News, Handy pretended to be a woman seeking abortion services and scheduled an appointment on October 22, 2020. Police arrived at the clinic and attempted to remove the pro-lifers who were indicted on the claims that they conspired to obstruct the, quote, right to reproductive health services. Assistant U.S. Attorney Sanjay Patel blamed Handy for the incident. Handy is an activist with the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising, also known as PAAU. Moreover, the PAAU has stated that its defense attorneys, the Thomas More Society, believe they have, quote, strong grounds to appeal and feel optimistic that a higher court will rule in their favor. PAAU also added that rescue cannot and will not be stopped. This case was an effort by the U.S. government to isolate and intimidate rescuers and anti-abortion people into believing they would face significant jail time for living in alignment with their pro-life values. On a reassuring note, the Thomas More Society, a public interest law firm defending life, family, and freedom, confirmed their plans to appeal in a statement. Martin Cannon, senior counsel with the Thomas More Society, made it clear that they were disappointed with the outcome of the trial. In his words, and I quote, "We are preparing an appeal and will continue to defend those who fight for life against the Biden Department of Justice that seems intent on prosecuting those who decry abortion and present it as it is, the intentional killing of children in utero." He also added that Ms. Handy has been condemned for efforts to protect the lives of innocent preborn human beings, something she should never have been arrested for. Reacting to the verdict, Lila Rose, founder and president of Life Action, says the jury's decision has set a horrific precedent for jailing Americans for exercising their First Amendment rights. From the beginning, this trial has been a sham with a completely biased pro-abortion judge who has made a mockery of our justice system. This decision will be appealed and we demand it to be overturned. These activists are heroes and the Department of Justice has acted capriciously and illegitimately. Lila Rose also added that she stands with these activists who have been unjustly convicted and demand authentic justice for these advocates working to end these barbaric killings. Stay tuned for our next update. We also have an interesting development from Pakistan. The Supreme Court in Pakistan has ordered the government to respond to a complaint demanding lower courts to stop the forced conversion and marriage of minority girls in the predominantly Muslim country, CBN News reported. This decision could make way for the country to adopt laws that would protect young girls, says a new report. This order follows the 2021 petition fighting for the release of a 13-year-old Christian girl girl who was kidnapped and forced into marriage. Pakistani News reported that Pakistani attorney Saif Malook had filed a petition with the country's Supreme Court against the Lahore High Court's decision to send a 13-year-old Christian girl, Nayab Gill, to live with her purported Muslim husband, and this was despite her parents' plea for custody. 13-year-old Nayab was sent to live with 30-year-old Saddam Hayat, who was accused of kidnapping her and forcibly converting her to Islam. At the time, Nayab's lawyer filed a petition with the High Court highlighting evidence in her case that questioned the discrepancy between the penal laws and the Sharia laws over the minimum age for the girls to get married. CBN News reported that the lower court dismissed documents that showed Nayab was 13 years old but accepted claims she made under duress. She had said she was 19 years old and had married Hayat after converting to Islam of her own free will. Nayab's father, Shahid Gill, told news sources that, quote, Nayab hasn't been able to come out of the trauma she suffered during her captivity. He also recounted how Saddam and his brothers tortured Nayab and threatened her with firearms before every court appearance. In his words, this is why she was forced to give statements favorable to them, end of quote. Moreover, the Supreme Court has ordered the government to respond to the petition seeking to stop lower courts from allowing forced conversion and marriage of minority girls in verdicts that overlook what should be considered child rape. According to recent reports by a Lahore-based advocacy group, the Center for Social Justice, there were at least 124 incidents of forced faith conversions in 2022 alone. Findings from the Learning, Education and Research Network claim Pakistan has the sixth highest number of child marriages in the world, where 21% of girls are reported to have gotten married before 18 years of age and 3% before they turned 15 years old. Although Pakistani law recognizes that sex with a minor with or without consent is rape punishable by death, courts have held that marriage to an underage Muslim girl is permissible under Islamic law once a girl has reached the age of puberty. Malook argued that it is important to set a uniform age for marriage across Pakistan and ensure the implementation of child marriage laws. He believes that the Supreme Court's order to the lower courts is a move to protect young girls. We hope and pray this goes beyond mere words. We pray this order gets enforced and those found guilty are punished to the full extent of the law. Our next and final update is still from Pakistan. Pakistani News carried this report. Church and right leaders in Pakistan are demanding an investigation into anti-Christian rioting in Jarawala amid illegal arrest of area Christians and a police claim of foreign conspiracy to create religious strife, sources said. Violent Muslim mobs incited by headline Islamist party Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan, also known as TLP, attacked churches and homes of Christian residents in Jarawala after two Christian brothers were accused of blasphemy on August 16th. Multiple churches were set on fire, homes and Christian businesses were ransacked for hours while police were silent spectators, triggering condemnation across the world. In a press conference, Punjab Police Inspector General Usman Anwar said that the riots in Jarawala and the alleged desecration of the Quran were evidence of a conspiracy by officials in India to detract from the country's mistreatment of Christians. President of the Church of Pakistan, Bishop Azad Marshall, said the police chief's claim was ludicrous and an attempt to bury the facts, as has been the past practice in all such incidents. Marshall told Pakistani News that instead of investigating the underlying reasons for such attacks and addressing the root cause, the police are arresting and harassing innocent Christians. He added that Anwar's statements insinuate that poor Christians are Indian spies, which he said is very dangerous for the entire community. The senior church leader also said that he had filed a petition in the Lahore High Court that seeks to form a judicial commission to investigate all aspects of the attacks, get justice against the negligent police and the district administration officials, and also create measures to protect Christians from mob violence. Marshall also condemned the arrest of Christians in Jarawala, saying the police were trying to intimidate victims from filing charges against the rioters. He added that they do not trust the joint investigation teams formed by the government, pointing out that the police chief's press conference had laid bare the government's intention to sweep the facts under the rug. This attitude is, quote, unacceptable to Christians. When we hear this kind of stories, the only thing we can do is to remind ourselves of the promises God has made to us. Faithful is he who promised to build his church. Surely he will not go back on his words. He will build his church and the gates of hell will not prevail. Do you believe this? I do. All right, folks, this is where we wrap up for tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. We hope to see you next Thursday, 9 p.m. Until then, I'm Chimela Chike. Stay hopeful. Bye now.